Well, hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mike, and I'm here with my brother Dan.
Hello.
And we are back after a little bit of a hiatus. Had some technical issues, had some timing things that we needed to work out. We got to do that big Sherlock review with Sam, which if you haven't listened to, hopefully you'll take a listen to that. That was a lot of fun. But we're back, and we're talking The West Wing. Come with us. Let's pull some big ideas off the small screen. This is Rerun Retrospect. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us here on Rerun Retrospect. Well, we are back talking about, Dan, we're talking about the next to last episode before the finale. So just giving you the tail of the tape on this episode. This is season 1, episode 21. It's called Lies. Damn Lies and Statistics. And for whatever reason, I feel like you need to say the title that way. I don't think you can just say it. You kind of have to put a little gravel and be frustrated when you say that title. But this was written by Aaron Sorkin, directed by Don Scardino. And it stars the awesome cast of The West Wing. Dan, to bring a little method to our madness, as we get back in the swing of things, we do bust the show up into segments. Our first segment is State of the Union. It's where we try and give you a little context for what was going on in the world at the time that the episode aired, as well as a synopsis of the episode. So, Dan, not a ton happening on May the 10th, 2000, which is the day that this aired. Other than, I will say this, May the 10th is my wedding anniversary.
Oh.
So May the 10th, 2000 was my third wedding anniversary. Yeah. I feel like that's maybe, I guess the second wedding anniversary is when you transition from being a newlywed to just being like, official, not really official, but a married couple. But
I think it's official the day you get married, but
well, no, I'm saying when you're no longer a newlywed.
All right. So you think there's an official time when you're no longer a newlywed. All right.
Well, I mean, there's social convention. I mean, you're starting out kind of cranky.
You're not like, we've been married 13 months like you are with a newborn. Like this is a 13-month-year-old.
That's right. That's right. We've been married 174 weeks. But I will say when my wife and I got married, I was in the Navy. I was on a submarine. I was in and out a lot. So our newlywed time was kind of extended of, just that whole getting used to being married and everything. So I would say maybe the third wedding anniversary was when we lost the stigma of being newlyweds.
And you would have been out at this point? You would have been done on your third one? I
just got out in 99. So I'd only been out for, a little less than a year.
Okay.
So yeah. So, but it's cool times. I will say this. One thing of interest that happened on May the 10th was the country of India reached a population of 1 billion. 1 billion people in the country of India. And that's like a significant percentage of the world population. And, fortunately enough, believe it or not, looking at the metrics, we have a number of people in India who download the not only the West Wing stuff, but they download a lot of our Sherlock content and everything. So hello to our friends with all those people, 1 billion people on May the 10th in 2000. And some of those people were probably there at that time, and now they're downloading and listening to Rerun Retrospect. So it's a small world, a lot of people, but still a small world. So Dan, why don't you give us a synopsis of the episode? Again, we don't do anything special for the synopsis. We just read it straight off the IMDB website. And Dan is an educator, and he's got that awesome voice. So we just let him take over from this
I should pronounce all the words right. And there's no one to credit again for this writing. We've had that for quite a few episodes. But this says, the staff waits for a poll to tell them their news. Activist policies are moving them in the right direction. CJ feels that her opinions are being discounted.
All right. Yeah, it's kind of short and sweet. And then, again, I'm just going to, so we'll transition from State of the Union. We'll move into our next segment, which is the Filibuster. And the Filibuster it's the meat and potatoes of our show. And it's when we talk about what we liked and didn't like. And I am proud to say that we get to see the fruition of one of Dan's. I mean, Dan has been straight as an arrow predicting exactly what happened in this episode.
And I'll also say I haven't seen the finale yet, so I'm doing all this without seeing the finale for season 1. I don't know what happens, but
that's right.
Whatever happens with Sam,
I'm
something's got to happen. Next episode. I mean, they're gonna wrap it up, make it a big deal. But the Sam thing, they planted that seed right at the beginning.
Okay, they've
let it grow. You kind of forget about it, and then it's coming back, and it's ready to fruit.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know through all these predictions that you've made, I know, it's weird. I mean, I'm feeling a certain big brotherly connection right now. You obviously like that feeling to go away as soon as possible. But as I've been trying to keep a straight face, all these episodes when you come through and you're like, hey, this is going to happen with Sam. Sam's going to have his blow up. He's going to do it. So I guess that's part of the plot line that we'll talk about first. What's your take here on Sam doing this? If watching it this time through is the first time I kind of went, he told them he wouldn't go to the graduation, but he didn't say that he just wasn't going to see her at all. And so at first I was like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid. He's being openly defiant. And then I'm like, no, he's kind of being a lawyer where he's adhering to the letter of the rule.
Sam wasn't openly defiant. He was actually with Toby. He was very, you're right. I can't go to her graduation. And he had to call her, and they had the library scene, which I think I have a comment about the library scene on there. But I don't think he's being openly defiant. I think when I was watching it the first time, I was like, oh, this is where I thought this is where they get a picture. I mean, I did think that. I don't know what. I mean, you can't think of that far back on your first watch if you foresaw that problem was going to happen. But it was just like, you're outside. I do think it was kind of funny how the TV show did it, where it was like, oh, a car started, and they're like, did you see anyone? Or Sam said, did you see anyone get in that car? And that was all kind of funny. I was like, if the guy didn't speed away, it's not suspicious at all. The guy slams on the gas and squeals the tires.
Right.
But yeah,
well, we've said this a couple times. We've said it a couple times for the West Wing. Some things don't, they're not, they're just good for television. And that's one of these situations where, if this was real life, it wouldn't have went down that way, but they needed to make it dramatic. And this is just kind of how they chose to do it.
But yeah, I mean, but the president, Bartlett's totally backing Sam. They've said, Sam's been honest from the start about the relationship with Lori, and it'll be interesting. I guess they're going to, I would guess that there's going to be some political collateral damage that they're going to take in support of Sam.
Sure, maybe.
But I don't know what's going to happen that last episode as far as that goes. But from the very first episode, that's the very first scene. He's in a bar. A woman approaches him, and obviously it's a problem. So
it's a little early for us to be jumping on this, and I'm gonna bring this up, and I just feel like there's a part of this storyline that just feels cringy to me, and I did not like the line by Bartlett. Isn't it? It's always nice when you can do something. Or how does he say it?
It's always nice. It's always a good day when you help a prostitute or something like that. Which they don't call her a prostitute.
When you can do
most of the series, it's always call girl, right? And here he's like, no, she's a prostitute.
And I think when you put this storyline right next to the guy that's having the ambassador that's having the affair with the daughter of the prime minister and all that kind of stuff, I guess just with everything that here in 2021, looking back, this feels very much like boys will be boys. And it almost, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, when things come to light and you start to realize that maybe attitudes and thought processes have been wrong, there can be an overreaction in one way or the other. And, I think it's important for everybody to kind of work through, how do I really feel about these things? And I can, I don't feel like I'm overreacting. This felt little, I'm not real keen on the way that everybody's treating this, specifically Bartlett. I mean, Bartlett's kind of tongue in cheek, and even, oh, we're going to make up a reason, and you're going to get this great job making more money, even though you've done this, you kind of done this thing or whatever. But I don't want to embarrass your wife, so we're going to keep it all on the down low. And I don't know. This is one of the few moments in season 1 where I'm just not on our team's side on some of these things. I don't like the attitude. I don't like how flippant we're kind of being about all this. Bartlett's comment where he's like, and I'm going to tell the attorney general, if you have any problem, being selected to the bar or all that kind of stuff. And I was like, do you just get to break the law and then become an officer of the court? And that's okay. There's no ramifications for that. I mean, whether you think they're literally, without saying it, they're literally feeling like, what, this should be legal. This should be okay. I mean, am I being oversensitive to it?
Yeah, I think you are.
I don't know.
I feel like they're trying to make you like Bartlett more. Like he's like, everyone makes mistakes. We're going to fix things. But it is the good old boys network, right? Like it's more important who you know than how you perform your job or whatever. Hinting the guy who's cheating on his wife getting a better job, even though he's real defiant. We'll talk about that in a bit. And like you said, and I hadn't thought about this before, but she is breaking the law and she's also becoming a lawyer. So it's not the fact that she's a prostitute. I personally don't care about that. But if you're going into law, that's a problem that you're breaking the law.
Well, I agree. And it's not specific that she's a prostitute. I guess it's just how flippantly they are. Like she's openly, maybe not openly, but at least to them, she's very specific about the fact that she breaks the law. And, and he's just like, he's trying to put the weight of the White House behind protecting her right to become a lawyer. And I'm not saying prostitutes can't, but I'm saying, I don't know that we just get to say, it's okay that you broke the law. We're going to protect your right to be a lawyer. I just don't know that it works that way. I don't know that. I'm not saying
probably not, but also even with the ambassador, it's like I'm protecting the wife. Are you protecting the wife? I don't know that you are.
I agree. No, 100%.
But but it's so public. That's the issue. It'd be one thing if it's a private conversation or this is what's happened. But obviously he's the president and this is going to be public and be a big deal. And let's not ruin lives.
And this is a guy that he appointed.
That's where he's coming from, I think, Bartlett anyway. So, and of course, if you get that far in power, you're going to use that power to what you hope is good and help your friends. I mean, absolute power corrupts, right? Absolutely. So I don't know. But, man, we jumped really far into the episode, a lot faster than I thought we were going to, because I'm going to try to rewind it back to the polling at the beginning. And I thought the polling whole thing was real funny because they emphasize that, we can only poll the people who continue to talk on the phone, right? Like otherwise, so many people hang up. And it reminded me of a joke that I saw on Comedy Central back when Comedy Central did those like stand-ups. Like it was a 30-minute show. They gave you stand-up like 6 or 7 minutes, and you just got to see a bunch of stand-ups. And I just remember one saying, like, I could never be prosecuted by a jury because it's got to be a jury of your peers, and these people can't even get out of jury duty. And it made me laugh because I'm like, okay, so you're doing all this polling on people who won't even, it's only the people who continue to talk to you. Like most people are going, click, I'm not doing this. I'm tired of this show being so relevant, but polling's a big issue in the past 4 or 5 years.
And I'm not trying to revisit what we just talked about, but I will say that the interaction with Lori and all that kind of stuff was the first time I felt like this is outdated. They're showing themselves to be outdated in the attitudes that they have about this. But coming back to where you're saying, we also during the polling, we also saw a little bitty revisit to the Josh is a heartthrob.
Oh, I have that written down. Oh my gosh, Josh is in the building. I can't answer the phone.
I can't even make my phone calls. Look, he's still over there. I'm just like, man, I'm sorry, man. I don't see it. But that being said, the flirtatious kind of fighting back and forth with he and Joey, I think the chemistry is there. It was very, very, it was good. That was a good part of this episode.
Donna is interacting now with Joey, and I thought that was great that they were in the same room together, because Donna was like, oh no, go after Joey. Yeah. Even though she's very much been about.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good. It was good. I mean, this episode was kind of up and down for me. I think the other thing I'll bring up is that CJ is we get this vulnerable moment of CJ where she's kind of being very transparent about some of the insecurities she's having. And I guess watching it through this time, I kind of asked, I was like, I don't know that's been super warranted. Maybe not. I mean, they did. I mean, Toby has kind of confronted her about, they feel like she's too friendly with the press. And we all know about, what goes on between her and Danny and all that kind of stuff. But I did not feel like, I guess I don't feel like I feel like she's being too insecure in this moment for what we've known, because she recovered from that accusation of being too close. She recovered from the snafu where they didn't tell her about the military operations didn't let her in on the fact that it was going on, so that she made those statements that were inappropriate. But I guess I thought that I enjoy the transparency and the vulnerability that she shows there, even though I will say it was obvious that they were going to see a large bump in the numbers, because
absolutely. It was obvious. And what I will say about CJ, and just our conversation made me think about it now, she is the most prominent female character on the show. Do you agree?
100%.
And
yes, absolutely.
And this is the second time that she's had a slight by the guys above her, right? Like you said them both. Her predicting the bump, not being told to Bartlett, and her not being told about what was the other thing she wasn't told about?
The military action.
Yeah. She wasn't told about that, and she was upset about it. She's like, I've got to know that. And then to find out that her advice or her idea of what was going to happen with the polls wasn't even mentioned. Prediction. And Leo blows it off. He's like, well, I took the survey of the room. I actually I think this is Leo's weakest episode so far. Not as a character. This is the episode where I go, I don't know how much I like Leo in this episode, because Leo's a very likable character. He's done he's done a lot of good things, but in this episode particularly, what happened with CJ, and also the power play he does on the guy on that board where he has the Marine in there, and this is the episode where I go, come on, Leo, what are you doing?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's enjoyable, because it's funny, because the guy literally says, "This is what they told me you were going to do," and Leo's like, "Oh no, we're not," and then he goes and does it, and the guy still falls. He's still
right, but as Leo as a character, no, I agree. The whole situation's great, but Leo as a character, I didn't like that.
Yeah. It didn't bother me that much. I mean, to me, that's just a political playing of being in that world. And I have a sense about these things, a finely honed sense. I that didn't make me pull back at all from Leo. I agree with you, though. He is almost dismissive. You can kind of tell it takes a lot for CJ to come in and say, "Hey, I didn't like that this went down. You were dismissive of me, or you like totally discounted mine." And he's just like, "Don't read too much into it." And that's just not an approach.
He dismisses her again. He's like, give her
more than that. Oh yeah, I didn't care about how much you thought, and I don't care that you care that I don't care about how much. I mean, it was kind of we poured a little salt on the wound there, which and it shows bad on him because the truth of the matter is she was right. You know, she was the closest one to being right, I think. So, you know, so she had every right to look at all of them and go, because they were all being very negative, and she was right. So, all right. What else about this episode did you notice, Dan?
I only have two more things. One is Lori in the library with her friend, who I guess eventually betrayed her. Right? She's the one who told the reporters where to be. And who goes and studies in a library with someone who isn't studying? That doesn't happen.
Well,
so I just thought that was a little funny. And then the final thing, and you know, we don't talk about the show before we do the recording. I didn't follow the Charlie problem with the ambassador. Like, my understanding is Charlie lied to Bartlett about knowing the guy. The guy knew Charlie because Charlie was a waiter at a country club that excludes people by race. Like, is that right?
No,
I'm not sure. I don't know what went on there.
No, I think I think you're absolutely right that they didn't flesh that story out very well. We know that something happened between, maybe we weren't supposed to. We're just supposed to know that something happened between those two.
So I mean, don't give anything away. Does this come up later? Because if this doesn't come up later, I'm just like, why is this in the story? I don't know why it's in the story. The ambassador has not been in at all, right? He's never been in any previous episodes.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay, so we've got Charlie lying to Bartlett about knowing the guy. The guy apparently feels terrible about being part of some club, and I didn't follow it. I mean, I guess it's got to be addressed later. If it's not addressed later, I don't know why it's in the story at all.
Well, I mean, and I don't think I'm ruining anything for you. I just tell you it's not addressed later, and it's just it's a poorly fleshed out storyline. Not to mention, Bartlett is like doing this guy a favor, and at some point you want something to hang your hat on to see, like, well, here's the one redeeming thing that I can hang that makes me okay. Well, let's do what we got to do or whatever. There is nothing to like about this guy. This guy if it came out that he was Mandy's dad, everything would make sense to us, right? We would be like, oh, now
because they don't bring her up in this episode either.
No, she is stealing money at this point in the season, just completely stealing money. But there's nothing redeeming about this guy. We know that he had some kind of interaction that was negative with a very beloved character. We love Charlie. So the fact that Charlie doesn't like this guy, that this guy is like defensive and saying, I don't go to those clubs anymore or whatever. We don't know what exactly it was. Yeah. And then again, I'm telling you, we don't find out later. This is just, I kind of like the whole Ocean's 11. We're going to do all these different things to number one, it takes care of the issue with this guy being an ambassador and doing stuff he shouldn't do. And it also opens up an FEC position. I love the interaction between Bartlett and the guy with all the staff where they differ on all these things, but they're able to find this common ground. And
I don't know. I thought that was very stereotypical. Like, even when he says, like, I'm a gun-toting redneck or whatever, and we don't see eye to eye on anything.
Right.
And then Bartlett names all, like, the liberal positions he's on. I didn't love that, but anyway, sorry.
I didn't mind it. I kind of like. I mean, I don't know. Maybe everything is so polarized. I appreciate when we're able to see any kind of.
But this is 2000. This is before 9/11 when this episode aired.
It's true. It's very true. So it's but you're right. The whole thing with the ambassador, other than being part of the chain reaction, it felt like it was thrown together pretty quick, and they just didn't flesh it out enough. Maybe we weren't ever supposed to know, but it feels like it should have had more. You're right. It feels like, oh well, I totally understand you coming from the place of this is where this has got to be addressed later, but it didn't. Much like the cabbie, what the cabbie said to those people.
That's what I was going to compare it to.
Who committed suicide, right? In Sherlock, this is another one where we just kind of get left there. So, all right. So, anything else for the filibuster?
No, that's it for me.
All right, closes down the filibuster and brings us to the caucus. The caucus is where Dan and I vote on whether we like the episode or not. We have three options. We can say yay, we really like the episode. We can abstain, meaning that we're kind of on the fence, and then we can say nay, meaning that we didn't like it. I'll go first because I feel like it's obvious. This episode was sinusoidal. Thank you, Funkin' Wagnalls. That means it goes up and down, up and down. This episode, there were some things I liked. There's some things that I really didn't like. The pinnacle of the Lori plot. I just feel like there's some attitudes that are just extremely antiquated that were difficult for me, that were kind of difficult to watch. We're kind of tongue in cheek. We're very much boys will be boys, and I didn't enjoy that. But I do enjoy the back and forth with Josh and Joey. Toby's still great in this episode. How he deals with the whole Sam thing. I definitely enjoy that. So I'm going to be a pretty solid abstain. There's enough that I don't like it's going to keep me away from a yay, but there's enough that I do like that I can't go full blown nay. And that's where I'm landing here. What say you, good sir?
We didn't talk about Toby much, but I think in your review, you brought him up, and he continues to be such a great character that you just like a lot. I could have gone abstain or yay. I don't think nay is even a possibility with this episode. There's a lot going on in this episode. Ultimately, I think I am also going to abstain because I feel like I'm waiting up for this final episode, which as soon as we're done recording, I'm not going to go watch it, but I want to kind of. So yeah,
sure.
I'll abstain. Sure. I'll hang back, but I'm close to a yay on this one. I think I'm closer to a yay than you are, but anyway.
Right.
I thought it was a good build.
Yeah, unlock Sherlock. One of the hardest things in voting for these episodes is only having the three options.
Well, once you eliminate things, the thumb modulation. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I've got to say one of three words. I can't say. I was trying to combine those words, but yay and nay don't really work since they're one syllables.
Right.
Or one syllable. But anyway.
Well, I'm just glad we don't do the thumb thing anymore. That you and I we're unified in the way that we vote on the episodes. Right? You're with us. You were wandering for years in the darkness, but we came and found you, and now there's none of this division about how we vote on episodes like we did it early on in the podcast. Okay, so 2 abstains coming from us right before the season finale. Our next episode will be on the season finale of season 1. Very excited to have that conversation. Final segment of our show is On the Record, and that's where throughout this episode I've been trying to insert. Very obviously, I've been inserting some quotes from the episode into our normal conversation, and Dan doesn't know that I'm doing it. He just tries to catch me when I do it. And Dan, I thought there were a lot of fun quotes to use specifically from this episode. So, what were you able to catch me in?
Big brotherly. That is said by That's said by Toby, right? Toby says that about Sam.
It is said by. He says it about Sam in the Oval when they're talking to Bartlett about the whole situation.
Are you in here sticking up for Sam?
I know, it's strange, sir, but I'm feeling a certain big brotherly connection right now. Obviously I'd like that feeling to go away as soon as possible, but for the moment, I think there's no danger in the White House standing by Sam and aggressively going after the people who set him up.
Obviously Joey says
Lucas does that in the Oval.
You see that? That's what I've been dealing with all week.
The Wagnalls is said by multiple characters, but it's not Wagnalls. Is it? I didn't know the word. I didn't know that word when they were talking about in the episode. You know what I'm talking about?
I think it's two names. I think it's Thank You Funk and Wagnalls.
They're saying funk because
sure.
I was like, are they not going to bleep this? It's funk.
Oh, no. I think it's F-U-N-K and Wagnalls. W-A-G-N-A-L-L-S.
It's two different words.
Funk and Wagnalls. Yeah, it is.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
I mean, that's a quote. I didn't know what they were talking about in the show when I watched it. I was like,
I think on our mother's side, our mother's maiden name is Webster. So as far as we're concerned, the person responsible for writing the dictionary is Webster, not Funk and Wagnalls. It sounds like, they opened for, the time in 1984 or whatever.
The right direction or wrong direction?
Toby.
Direction and track are two different words.
Thank you, Funk and Wagnalls.
What you call me?
Funk and Wagnalls, they make the dictionary.
I know who Funk and Wagnalls are.
Then why'd you ask her?
Sense about. He said sense about. I didn't write the whole quote down. I have a sense about
these things.
Yeah.
I have a sense about these things, a finely honed sense. Bartlett talks about that when he's trying to
Bartlett
Charlie on
says
the fact that he knew this guy.
Okay. You did it again. I'm sorry, sir.
When you said the name Cochran, it was like you knew him.
No, sir.
I have a sense about these things.
Yes, sir.
A finely honed sense.
It's failing you at the moment, sir.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. Yeah.
I wrote it so poorly that I can't read it. Parkness? Ruckness? Something that ends in ness.
Darkness.
Yeah. Wow, that D really looks bad.
You're with us. You were wandering for years in the darkness, but we came and found you. All right, so good times. I'll tell you what, Dan, I'm excited. I know you're probably gonna. I think you are gonna watch the finale, maybe even today. It might not be right when we get done recording, but you might this evening after dinner.
Only if you think we should record tomorrow. If you think we should record tomorrow, I might watch it today.
I can make it work. If you want to record tomorrow, we'll record tomorrow. And we'll
all right, let me check. I'll find out. But anyway, yeah.
All right. We're
still
going to release it. Yeah. It was good. We're glad that you came with us on this ride. Hopefully, we'll be able to come back without any more technical issues. We can get back onto a regular release schedule, and you can continue to listen to us prove that hindsight's not always 20/20. This is Rerun Retrospect.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Rerun Retrospect. If you'd like to connect with us, you may email us at rerunretrospect@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at Rerun Retrospect. We hope you'll join us for our next episode where we keep pulling big ideas off the small screen.